and I'm gonna be physical with you the whole game. You know Stu gonna be physical with you. When you think of the Pistons, you think it's just hard work and just gritty basketball. That's just the identity you gotta have when you put on that jersey.
I'm not your average breed of canine. Not a good dog, I'm bad boy for life. I set the tone, don't care about no tick. Let it be known, I get my respect. Come in the lane and see I don't bluff. If you retaliate, that's on ya. Talking abundance, I hear your shade. Talking that shop, you must run this way. Look the dog palm, mess around, find out, Look the dog palm, mess around, find out, For some barbecue sauce, boy, you better cough a hill, cause I'm like that. When you're real for some barbecue sauce, boy, you better cough a hill, cause I'm like that. Mess around, find out.
What up, though, Pistons fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Downtown Do Show. I want to welcome everybody. I appreciate everybody who is showing up and showing out as you guys always do. I see you guys are already deep in this chat, so we are going to look at a few comments and then we are going to get into this game. I hope everybody's doing well. Got a chance to watch this game. The game just concluded about 10-15 minutes ago, so we are going to break everything down. Let's take a look at some of these comments. My City says, rebound the ball. I saw at least 3 instances where three guys just watched the ball with no reaction with a cold shooting night. Carl Collins, what's up, bro? Says no during, no rebounds, I guess. We're going to get to that for sure. Definitely has some similar thoughts to that. Mr. Ma City says, what's your high point takes from this game, low points? Yes, guys, what are your high and low points from this game? I have quite a few, but as always, I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear what you guys saw and thought about this game. So let's go ahead without further ado and go ahead and get into it. Frank, what's going on, man? Heisenberg, what's going on, bro? Devon, what's going on? Bucks, Knicks, or Hicks? Pistons and CX. I love it. All right, let's go ahead, man. Let's get started, man. So, like I mentioned, tough game, right? Pistons, unfortunately, did not come out on top tonight. They fell short to the Memphis Grizzlies, 109-103, and this was a home game that they lost on the second night of a back-to-back, and they fall to 43-35 on the regular season with 4 games left. Man, guys, so before we get into it, we are quickly approaching the end of the season. Doesn't it seem like the season just started last month? And here we are sitting 4 games left before we go into the playoffs. Time flies and you're having fun, doesn't it? It's crazy. And it feels good, at least for me, it feels good to just, as a fan, just be able to as we're watching these games, just be able to just kind of relax a little bit, not have to worry about implications or worry about, you got to get this game or otherwise, you're not going to make it, like all these different things. In the past, I remember the Pistons being 8th seed, 9th seed, right on the fringe of being in the playoffs before the play-in, right? The Pistons were talking about 2018, 19, 2016, that time period, the last time the Pistons were in the playoffs. And I remember those teams just teetering on the border of playoff contention, right there in the 8, 9, 10 range. And game to game to game, you're just saying to yourself, okay, if we win these next 2 or 3 games and the team above us lose the next 2 games, we got a shot to get in. It was always just anxiety. Always anxiety about if we can get in. And that was, of the last decade, that was the highs, not the lows. Those were the high points of the of Pistons seasons. The lows, we already know, was exactly what Nikki was saying, the lottery talks. Right? Every year, come May, we're looking forward to the lottery. We're looking forward to the draft. We're scouting all these different guys and trying to see what and it just feels nice to not only have to do that, but to also have a solidified playoff spot. It's been a long time since we've had that, and to not have to worry about if we lose this game, what's going to happen. And that's the case now. So just want to put that out there because it does feel good as a Pistons fan to be able to do that, to have that luxury. It's not something we've always had. Trust me. So let's get into the game. So first things first, injury report, right? So after a 6-game absence, K finally returned to the lineup tonight from a calf contusion. And now Pistons fans can relax. It's crazy. I got so many DMs the past week or two, understandably so, but just about Cade's health. And everybody was panicking and saying that they think it's more to it because they haven't said anything. There's no update. Guys, I was never really concerned about that. I said a week or so ago I wasn't concerned about it. I never thought it was that serious. I thought if these were playoff games that we were playing right now, he probably would have been playing. But the playoffs are different. We know that. The playoffs are different. The intensity is different. The physicality is different. So everything goes up a few notches in the playoffs. So it's very, very important that you are as fresh as you can be for a potential playoff run. That's why you see teams around the league resting guys, right? Load managing guys to make sure that come playoff time, what really matters, that they can be healthy and in good shape and ready to go full tilt. So now everybody can relax. Cade is fine. He's back on the court. Look good, right? Also, we got Isaiah Stewart back for this game too, right? He returned from his 2-game suspension from the Minnesota Timberwolves incident. And it was good to see him back on the court, man. And his presence, as you guys saw in this game, was felt right away. Right away. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, bro. I've had this hat for a while. Good little while now. Going back a little, I'm not going to say how far back, but this is a throwback hat for sure. But it matches this hoodie I got, this Detroit Pistons hoodie. So I had to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, though. All right, man. Bryce Scott, exactly. Bryce, let's just keep everybody healthy. The W's at this point are bonus. And honestly, at my point, they're not even really bonus. Depending on who you want to play, they're not bonus. But but that's just my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think you're actually right as far as just keeping everybody healthy, right? For me, these wins, I won't say I was pulling for the Pistons to lose, but if you understand the standings and who I want to see in the first round versus who I don't want to see in the first round, you could probably figure out, put two and two together as to why I wasn't too bothered by this loss tonight. But we'll get into that later. But Bryce, I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. Let's see. So like I mentioned, Isaiah Stewart was back. Good to see him in the game. Good to see him doing his thing. Didn't miss a beat. We're going to get to that for sure. Tobias Harris, he was actually hopeful to play tonight, right? But he was downgraded at the last minute. He was a late scratch with the calf strain. That I think he's still dealing with that tendinopathy, right, in his right heel. I think it's his right heel. Could be left heel. One of his heels. He's dealing with some pain in his heel, tendinopathy, Achilles tendinopathy, I believe. So you got to be really careful with that. And I'm glad the Pistons are doing this. I'm glad they are exercising caution, because he left the game with that same injury that he came back from. So he had the tendinopathy, right? He returned for the game against the Thunder and re-aggravated it. And he did not return. So I'm glad the Pistons kept him out. It doesn't make sense. Like Bryce said, the wins don't really matter right now, right? Whatever happens, the most important thing is health. So why would you play a guy who you need for your playoff run? Doesn't make sense. So I hope the Pistons actually keep him out. Like the next couple games, I hope he does not play. Even if he comes back just the last game of the season versus the Bucks, just to get 15, 20 minutes, just to get the familiarity back and all that good stuff, right? So that's what I hope to see from him. I hope we don't see him at all next few games. Get that calf healthy. Last thing we want is to be rolling in the playoffs, up in the series, and one of our guys goes down because they didn't get enough rest prior to the playoffs. That's the worst case scenario, right? So get healthy. Number one, get healthy. And in addition to that, right, Jalen Duren, talking about health. Jalen Duren was also a late scratch for this game with a lower leg injury. I don't know the extent of the injury. He was on the bench. He looked to be okay. He was actually in pregame warmups getting shots up. Shout out to Eric Vincent for giving me that footage. He was getting some shots up. He and Kay were getting shots up, and he was a late scratch. So once again, I don't think it's anything serious. I think it's just management. And because he looked great last game. He had 21-18 last game? And he didn't show any signs of being seriously hurt or hampered. So once again, I'm not concerned about these injuries that are popping up all of a sudden at the end of the year. I think this is just the Pistons playing it smart and making sure that these guys are in peak condition heading to the playoffs. And guys, consider this too, when it comes to JD at least. He's played 74 games this year. He has played in 74 games. And there's 4 still remaining. So if he plays the rest, he will have played 78 of 82 games. So I think he's earned a day or two off, especially the way he's been playing lately. He's been playing great basketball. So I think he'll be just fine. Give him a day or two off. Let him get ready. Let him, refresh and recharge his batteries and get right back to a playoff time. Perfectly okay with that. As a result of that, though, the starting five and bench rotations got shuffled around. We had Cade at the 1. We had Dennis Schroeder at the 2. THJ at the 3. Asar at the 4. And Stu at the 5. So we were undersized tonight in the front court. Definitely undersized tonight in the front court. And it was visible. And it was a perfect storm type of game, type of matchup for the Grizzlies, who are huge up front. So it was a bad time for the Pistons to be undersized, unless you're just trying to make sure you play the Knicks, if y'all know what I'm saying. But anyway, once again, like I said before, I think Coach Bickerstaff is doing a couple things here, but with resting guys and shuffling the lineup. Number one, I think that he's trying to get guys, and we said this last show, I think he's trying to get guys who don't normally play together more reps, more opportunities to play together, right? Guys like we talked about Sasser and Stu, or Sasser and JD. We didn't see them much this season in the pick and roll. We saw it last game, right? Tonight we saw Schroeder and Stu. They have played together because they played together as a bench unit. But we've seen different guys playing with different teammates, and I think that's a good thing because in the playoffs, you never know what situation you're going to run into, and there isn't, we had a bad stretch of games. We'll get back to it next week. No, if you lose four games, you're done. There is very little room for error for teams like the Pistons who are trying to make some noise in the playoffs. So it's just important to be as prepared as you can for any situation, even if situations don't even present themselves. Like even if nobody gets hurt in the playoffs, which we don't want, even if guys are not in a lot of foul trouble, even if guys are not getting suspended because they got too many techs again, like even if that stuff doesn't happen, and it very well might not happen, it's still good to have that in your back pocket in case it does. Because what's worse is not having gone through it and not putting your guys in situations together, and now you need to throw them out there and they can't produce because they haven't had the reps. That's the worst case scenario. It's just the old saying: it's better to have and not need than need and not have. Right? That's what this is about. So I think that's the first thing that JB is doing, is just getting guys involved and acclimated with other guys they don't normally play with. Number two, I think he may be holding his cards, his hand, close to his chest, close to the vest. And what I mean by that is when you get close to the end of the season and seedings start to get solidified and you can kind of tell who you might be playing, or one or two teams you might be playing, like the Pistons, for example, they know they're going to play either the Pacers or the Bucks. The Bucks also know they're going to play either one or two teams. The Pacers also know they're going to play one or two teams, right? The Knicks also know they're going to play either us or the Bucks or somebody else, the Pacers, right? They know that. So as you wind down, especially when these games don't mean as much toward the playoffs other than who you might play, as you wind down, you start looking at other things outside of just this game. You start looking ahead a little bit, right? You start looking ahead to, okay, who we might play and how do we look against this team? And I think J.B. Bickerstaff is trying to give other teams as little data as possible regarding scouting and how teams are going to scout the Pistons, right? And I think that's why you're not seeing the whole starting five together. Like you're not seeing Cade and THJ and Asar and Tobias and JD. You're seeing Cade and Schroeder and THJ and Asar and Stu, right? You're not showing your hand potentially for teams to be able to scout what you might do in the playoffs, right? And this Pistons team has improved drastically since the last time they played both the Pacers and the Bucks. So I think JB is playing a game of chess here and is doing whatever he can to make sure that, these teams don't have too much data on us as far as how we might look in the playoffs. I could be wrong about that, but just looking at how things are playing out, looking at how he's staggering these rotations and throwing different lineups in the mix, and guys are getting hurt at the end of the year, I think it's just a good way to kind of get everything tweaked and tightened up before the season, and also make sure that you are putting yourself in position to be successful in the playoffs, but not allowing other teams to see what you're doing. So let's check a few comments and then we'll get back. Chess, not today, man. It's been a whole season. What's up, Chess Ready? What's going on? Cade is a basketball star. Let's see. Yeah, you mean Sasser isn't a point guard. Yeah, Sasser's not a point guard. What did I say? What did I say, Chuck? Sasser is not a point guard at all. I don't think that's any question. He's a scoring guard who I think can eventually learn the position, but he's not there quite yet, right? All right, let's get back. Devon says, I hope we sit everybody against the Knicks. I feel the same. Yeah, like the Knicks and the game is against the Bucks. If we sit against those games too, I wouldn't be mad. If we lose those 2 games against the Bucks, we're going to be 6 for sure. For sure. Even if we split those games against the Bucks, we still may be 6 for sure. So that's kind of where I'm seeing this thing going right now. No, Chess said Kate wasn't oh, okay. I got you. Okay, got you. All right, let's get back. Let's get back and continue on with this game. If I missed any comments, guys, just repost it. Like I would say, repost the comment, put it in caps, super chat, whatever you want to do. If I missed it, I apologize. I will get to as many as I can as we get through the rest of this recap. All right. So, like we mentioned, very interesting decision-making tonight, but I liked what I saw. So, lastly, on the injury front, John Morant also did not play. He was also a late scratch. I think he had food poisoning, so he didn't play this game. And even with that, though, I wasn't expecting the cakewalk at all. The Grizzlies came into this game 45-32 on the season in the West. So that's pretty impressive. Like, they're not one of the top teams in the West. It just shows how good the West is. I think they're in 6th with a 45-32 record, right? The Pistons are 43-35 at 6. So it just shows you the West is a little bit stronger than the East across the board, right? But the reason I wasn't expecting an easy game, despite Ja not being there, is because that wasn't the biggest problem. Speed was not the problem for the Pistons in this game. It was size. We had Asar Thompson, who was 6'6", 6'7" on a good day, and Isaiah Stewart, who's 6'8", 6'9" on a good day, going against Jaren Jackson Jr., who's 6'11", 250 pounds, and Zach Edey, who's 7'4", 300-something pounds. I knew that was going to be a problem immediately, especially with JD out. Yeah, I didn't think, I thought it might get ugly. I thought it might get ugly pretty quickly. And it didn't, to be honest. It didn't get ugly actually the whole game. The Pistons were never really out of this game. They were never out of this game. They found ways to still stay attached to the Grizzlies. They played hard. The Pistons played hard this game. I'm not doubting that at all, right? The effort was there, but you just can't teach size. And guys, this is why you guys hear me always talking about why, as much as I love Tobias Harris, right, we got to get bigger up front. Because even if he would have played tonight, Jaren Jackson Jr. is still 6'11" at the power forward spot. Zach Edey is still 7'4" at the center spot. I mean, even if we had JD and Tobias playing, it still would have been tough because those guys are just bigger than we are. That's why I always say I want a forward who is big enough to get on the boards and defend in the glass, in the interior, right? As much as Tobias is a great finesse player who is leaned into playing that style, he's just not big and strong enough. Long term, when the Pistons are trying to win championships, you got to get a little bit bigger, right? So, and also with that, the Grizzlies still have Desmond Bane. They have Desmond Bane, who has been torching the Pistons the last few times we have played them, and tonight was no exception. I think Bane had 38 points tonight. Let me take a quick look at what he had tonight. Desmond Bane, guys, finished with 38 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 15 for 23 from the field, 4-7 from 3, 4-4 from the free throw line. So he had an efficient 38, very efficient 38. Even though he didn't take a lot of free throws, he still shot the ball well and couldn't be stopped. We're going to get to why that was, but that's why I knew this game was not going to be easy. Because even without Ja, they had a size advantage and they had Bane who could still get buckets, right? If he can get hot quickly if you let him. So I knew the Pistons only shot to win this game with who they had available was their speed. Their speed, and that's who they are, right? Defense to offense. Getting out in transition off of turnovers, because that's the thing. As big as the Grizzlies are, they can't run with the Pistons. They're not fast enough, especially with Ja. But up front, the bigs have no shot getting down the court, chasing Asar and Stu. Stu is not a thin guy, a small guy, but he's pretty fast. He's pretty quick. He's got very quick feet for a big guy. So, and he said that actually at the halftime interview. He said that they can't run with us. And so that was the only way the Pistons were going to have a shot to get this game. Unfortunately, they just didn't have enough at the end, and we were just a little bit overwhelmed with their size and with Bane just getting whatever he wanted, right? So we'll come back to that. But I want to say too, like you also see the importance of why a guy like JD is so important, right? Because his sheer size and physicality alone would have made things a lot easier for the Pistons. A lot easier. I mean, Zach Edey had only 6 points, but he had 21 boards. 21 boards. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 11 boards. So between those two guys, they had 32 rebounds. Right? Our leading rebounder was Asar with 11. Stu had 8. He had 16 to go as 8. But my point is that their size advantage was just too much. It was just too much for the Pistons to try to deal with. Every offensive rebound, every shot that the Grizzlies put up, you saw 3 or 4 white jerseys in the paint going against 2 of our guys. It was just overwhelming. They just didn't have enough size at the end of the game to be able to come out with a dub. It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. Marvin says, who wants Boban back? Boban Marjanovic, 7'4", ex-Piston. Bucket, by the way. We definitely could have used him tonight. A younger Boban going against Edey. That could have been a wash, honestly. That could have been a wash. But getting back to this game, yeah. So let's go ahead, guys, and get into another guy that some of you guys have actually been looking at from the Grizzlies. I've heard a lot of talk about this guy, right? Many Pistons fans have sent me messages saying they want to add this guy to the roster as a stretch 4. Santi Aldama. Guys, let me know in the chat what you thought, especially those of you who wanted him on this team. Let me know in the chat what you thought watching him play tonight. And do you think, for those who have wanted him, after watching him tonight, do you still think he's the answer at the 4 long term? And for those of you who were not familiar with him, after watching him tonight, do you think that he is the answer at the 4 long term? Kenyatta saying I'm straight. You guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, and I'll come back to that question. And we'll go from there. Chess Ready says he's more of a small. Yeah, yes, I think we're on the same page there. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. Let's talk about it now. I guys am not a fan of Santi Aldama. Like he gives me Ersan Ilyasova vibes, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se. But Ersan Ilyasova was a very average basketball player. He was an unathletic stretch 4. He wasn't really a great passer, wasn't really a good defender. He didn't really give you much. I would say he's a little bit better than Fontecchio as far as Ilyasova. Those are the vibes I get watching Santi Aldama. Now listen, I have not watched him all year. Mega Hustler, I just said the same thing. I don't know, guys. Like, listen, for those of you, can you say one more time? Lawrence the King, I was just saying, what are you guys' thoughts on Santi Aldama? And that's kind of how I feel, Kenyatta. Like, he's a fine player, but he just doesn't fit what the Pistons really are doing. He doesn't have that gritty, tough, physical style of play, even mentally. He doesn't seem to be a dog to me. He had a 5-second violation at the end of the game where he couldn't get the ball in bounds. Right? I'm not trying to shade him. I think he's a backup for a reason. I don't think he's a starter on a championship team. I don't think he's a starter on a championship contending team. I mean, the Grizzlies are 6th in the West. He's not starting. If he was good enough, he would start, right? So I definitely think that it's a hard pass for me. I think he's a good offensive player. I just think he's kind of soft. And I think it will kind of put us in the same boat that we are in with Fontecchio. I'm not saying Fontecchio is soft. I think Fontecchio has more toughness to him than Aldama does, though. I will say that. But I do think Aldama is a slightly better player, but not good enough to pay to use your cap in the offseason. Y'all know who I want. I know y'all don't want to hear his name, so I'm not going to say his name. The guy plays in Minnesota. Just had the incident with him. But that's why I want a guy like him. You know what I mean? Like, I want a dog. I want somebody who I can go to war with. For sure. So I'm good on Aldama. I think you guys are kind of all good on him too. He's okay. That's pretty much where I'm at. He's all right. Devon says, Deuce, you're a musician. Monica has a song called So Gone. Tech and Rita, So Gone. So gone over you. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I remember that song, Devon. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think those guys I think it may be a rap on those guys too. Oh, yeah, I think that's it, man. I think after the season, Paul Reed and Fontecchio may be gone. And we'll get to that later on in the show, but that made me laugh when I saw I saw Devon say that. That was pretty funny. Kenyatta says Tech needs to let us grit out. Yeah, it seems like we saw it last year, right? We saw it last year. It just seemed like a different guy. I don't know if it was the injury or what. We'll get to that. You guys are baiting me. Y'all must be baiting me. Come on, dude. No, I'm done. That's enough singing for tonight. Let's get back to this game. I gotta stay focused. You know, Kay said, I'm not a rapper. I'm a basketball player. I'm not a hooper. I'm not a musician. I'm gonna stick to this for now, right? I'm gonna stick to just doing this podcast for now. So let's get back to this game. Yes, surgery, Fontecchio, 100%. All right. So let's get back to it, guys. You guys are distracting me tonight. I'm sorry. All right, let's get back. So with that, we talked about Aldama, right? We talked about the offensive rebounding, the size, and just the physicality that the Grizzlies played with. So now, I just wanted to really emphasize that, though. You see, JD was missed for sure. Definitely was missed, man. So to start this game, the Pistons' energy was actually okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was better than last game, that's for sure. Against the Raptors, we came out lethargic last game. Tonight was different. I was hoping to see that the Pistons learned that lesson, that regardless of who you're playing, you got to bring it. And tonight, the energy was better. But like I mentioned earlier, you could tell that there was some chemistry issues with the lineups, which is why I think it's good that they got a chance to play, right? You could see they didn't have the same rhythm offensively. The timing was a little bit off. Guys were not exactly where they were supposed to be running certain sets. The passes weren't as crisp. Guys weren't catching the ball where they normally like it. You could just see it wasn't a synergy, a familiarity that we usually see. And I think that's why it's good to get these guys reps. Because what if this happened in the playoffs and these guys never played together and you got to throw them out there, right? Now you're really in a situation you don't want to be in, So that's why I think it's good that we're doing that now. But it was evident in this game that the chemistry was just not there. You could definitely see guys were second guessing themselves. Guys were not trying to step on each other's toes. They were not trying to do too much. And it's just because they didn't have enough reps. The lack of familiarity is what caused that. So, I expected that. The Grizzlies, though, they came out hot. Desmond Bane could not seem to miss. He made his first 6 shots. Dude was on fire. He was in the heater to start this game. And honestly, guys, with Ja not playing, initially, I was thinking, why isn't Asar on Bane every second that Bane is in the game? Like when Bane comes in, bring Asar in. When Bane sits down, sit Asar. Asar, he's got no limit or no minutes restriction or anything like that. He can play as long as he needs to at this point, right? But then I thought about it. Asar tonight had to play the 4 because guys like JD and Tobias were out. So he had to move up a spot, right? And so the Pistons were already undermanned and way too small to bang with the Grizzlies in the post, in the paint, right? So they needed Asar to be under the rim in the paint, trying to help Isaiah Stewart board. So if you're going to have him out there, you can't have him in 2 places at one time. He can't guard Desmond Bane and then run to the rim and grab the board. Like, no, that's just not going to work. He can't be in 2 spots at one time. You needed him on the glass. You needed everybody on the glass by committee, everybody. And guys tried, it just weren't big enough, right? So I think that's why Bane got off, is because our Dyson Daniels, right, our stopper, because we see SR guarding all of the premier players, backcourt guys, night to night. If you want to know who the best player is on the opposing team, look who SR is guarding. That's how you get your answer, right? But tonight, because we were so small up front, we had to shift him to the front court. That's why you saw THJ go from the 2 to the 3 and Schroeder go to the 2, right? That's why you saw all these guys moving up a spot. And when that happens, you're going to be small, right? Just because you move up, you're still small, right? So I think that's why Bane was able to get off. I think that's why it happened. And so it's understandable, just unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation due to the lack of personnel. You know, but even with that, the Pistons were still hanging tough. You know, in the second quarter, their defense got them back into the game. They got turnovers. They started getting out in transition. And that led to them having a 14-2 run in that second quarter to tie it. But like I mentioned, man, the Grizzlies, they're a big team, but they're a slow team too. They're very much a half-court team, especially with Ja not playing in this game, right? He's a speedster. But when he's not playing, they are definitely going to lean into their size, which means they're not really going to get out in transition a lot because Edie is not fast and Jaren Jackson Jr. is not fast either, right? And so the Pistons turned the defense up, got out in transition in the first half, and have 14 transition points to the Grizzlies' 0 transition points. Once again, like I said, they don't get out in transition because they're just not fast, especially without Ja. So, but in the second half, the Grizzlies, they had some adjustments of their own that they wanted to make. The Pistons wanted to get out and run, right? The Grizzlies wanted to lean into their size. So both teams kind of wanted to lean into their strengths. And at the end of the day, it was really just came down to who can impose their style of play more than the other. Were the Pistons going to get enough turnovers to, and have enough speed on the court to force the Grizzlies to go smaller and try to match up with that speed? Or were the Pistons going to do the best that they could to try to match up with the Grizzlies' size, because that was overwhelming? And that's when you saw guys like Asar trying to get on the glass because the Grizzlies won the battle of style of play. That's what it came down to. So second half, the game was back and forth. The Pistons are trying to run, but the Grizzlies were just dominating on the glass. The Pistons would get a stop and try to get out and run, but they wouldn't secure the rebound. That was a big problem tonight. They were trying to get out and run, but they were doing it before they secured the ball, before they finished the possession. It's kind of like a receiver who has a catch, has the ball in his hands, but he looks away before he catches it and he drops the ball, right? It happens all the time, right? Speaking of receivers, Jamison Williamson was at this game tonight. Shout out to him. He showed up to LCA. But that's kind of what the Pistons were doing. When the shot missed, everybody was getting out and running because they were trying to run, but they weren't securing the basketball because the Grizzlies had two guys under the hoop that were huge trying to get offensive rebounds. And that's kind of what happened tonight. The Pistons enough times did not finish the possession defensively because they were either leaking out too early or they were just oversized. They were just undersized. So it really was just a matchup problem tonight for the Pistons. That's really what it came down to. It was a matchup issue. So let's take a pause here and get into some more comments. And then, guys, we will go ahead and get into the box scores, do a quick little review of the standings, see what's going on with games around the league, and then we will go ahead and call it a night. All right, let's see what we got. So let's see. We need Asar to have a twin. Unfortunately, he doesn't, right? Let's see. What else? Pistons just win. Keep giving that 3 to Stu, and let's see what. Oh yeah, if he's open, he can knock it down. Honestly, Kenyatta, I was saying that was a blessing in disguise. That was one of the only positives, Kenyatta, of Monty Williams being the coach last year, because Monty Williams wanted Stu to be a stretch four. Stu never played four in his life prior to last year. High school, college at Washington, he never played four, but he decided he was going to do it because coach asked him to, which is why he was taking 700 plus shots a day trying to work on his jumper, right? And so it wasn't the best for him long term because we know he's a 5. He's a 5. But the beauty of that, Kenyatta, is that now that Coach Bickerstaff is at the helm, he understands that Stu is a 5 and he's best suited at the 5. But he now has the ability, because he worked on it, because Monty wanted him to, he now has those reps, those shots. He now can shoot the 3 ball much better than he could ever before. And you saw that tonight. So it's a happy accident, because even though Monty wanted him to play 5 or play the 4 and be a stretch 4, he can be a stretch 5 now at times because he's added that to his arsenal. And he doesn't have to shoot 5 or 6 a game. But when he's open, he'll make you pay if you leave him open, like he did tonight, a la Al Horford. That's the guy I see Isaiah Stewart being in his prime. All-star level, Atlanta Hawks, Al Horford. If you leave him open, he's going to make you pay. And that is the beauty of last season. It's one of the only positives from last season, but that's one of them. Because we would not see Isaiah Stewart taking threes with confidence this year had he not been moved to the 4 and had to get all those reps and shots up working on the 3 ball. So Blessing in disguise, right? Blessing in disguise. Gaming with me says, I was at the game tonight. I want to start a guard Desmond Bain so bad. Yeah, I get it. I get it, gaming with me, but it's like he couldn't. He couldn't because he had to play the 4 because we were so small. And you can't guard Bain and, get position under the rim after the shot goes up. Like when the shot goes up, you need to already be in position under the rim. So he can't guard him and then run to the paint and be like, you know what I mean? Like you can't do both. So that's why they were saying they wish Star had a twin on this team, right? So that way we can have a guy boarding and a guy guarding on the perimeter. I wouldn't mind that long term. That'd be crazy to have both of those guys. Anyway, but yeah, I feel you, gaming. Gaming, I feel you on that. It was just the personnel, it just didn't match up tonight. It was just a matchup nightmare for this team, right? I think coach did the best he could. It just wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Tara says Stu should get the belt. Yeah, I don't think they'll give it out in a loss. But had they won, I think Stu would have got the belt. For sure. For sure. We're going to get to those guys. Kenyatta says, bold take. Stu hit a playoff 3, a 3 for a... Wow. So what that means is he's going to have to be in the game. So you're saying he's going to be either playing with JD or JD is going to be fouled out. Interesting. Okay, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just playing it out with you, seeing how it happens. So we'll see. We will definitely come back to this, and I will shout you all the way out, Kenyatta. I'll spend 5 minutes shouting you out if that does indeed happen. So we'll see. We'll see. And Chess Ready seems to maybe be thinking what you're thinking, Kenyatta, because he says start Duran and Stewart ASAP. I wouldn't do that because when you go to your bench, you are small. Unless you're going to stagger Stu and JD, like you're going to stagger Cade and Jaden whenever he comes back, like allowing one guy to shift to, like we know with Cade and Jaden, before Jaden got hurt, Cade was at the 1, Jaden 2. When Cade would sit down, Jaden would go to the 1. So unless you're trying to do that with these guys, so always have either JD or Stu in the game at all times, then maybe. But even then, I don't know how much I trust Paul Reed consistently in the playoffs. That's kind of where I'm at. That's why I'm like, nah, I don't know. Because I'm not trying to, I like Paul Reed. I just, like I said before, I don't think I'm comfortable with him as the third big on this team. I'd much rather have the guy in Minnesota, like we talked about, or even the JJJ, like you guys have talked about. I'd rather have somebody like that as my third, to complete my 3 big rotation, if that makes sense, right? And so that's kind of why I wouldn't start them together. I think it's a little too much front court firepower considering we don't have much on our bench. Like we got Fontecchio and B-Ball Paul as our bigs off the bench. If you start Stu with JD, that's why it's like you can't. I wouldn't start them together because that makes you very, very light on your bench. And if we get past the first round, if we beat the Knicks, even playing the Knicks, they got 2 bigs, right? So I understand why you want to. Just be careful because when you go to your bench, you're not going to have much. You're not going to have much size at all. It's going to look like tonight. You're going to have to start playing the 4 times with B-Ball Paul. You got to work it out. So I think they should keep it as is and just kind of roll with it. And then this offseason, allow Stu to still be the big off the bench, just have a starter starting next to JD who's bigger. Keep the rotation the same. Don't switch guys out. Let them stay in their role. They're comfortable there. They've been doing this all year. Let that part stay. Just switch the 4 instead of moving guys to the front and then having, because when you move Stu to the starting lineup, that shuffles the whole front court and it shuffles how guys are used to playing with each other too. So we know Schroeder runs the pick and roll with Stu just the way Cade runs the pick and roll with JD. I don't want to disrupt that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to mess with that. So that's why I would leave it as is and kind of just roll with it because everything is a bonus right now, guys. If we win 2 games in the playoffs, that's great. That's great. That's a great season. I think we can go further for sure, but everything at this point is bonus. We are in the playoffs, guys, with 4 games remaining after winning 14 games last year. Like, we're good. We're fine. No need to rush, right? So we'll see. Marvin says Nas will still be good, though. Yes, he would. I'm just more on bringing JJJ back to Michigan, but either works. You know what? I don't know too much about JJJ, Marvin. So if you got more detail on him and his Michigan roots, I'm here for it. I will definitely throw it up here if that is the case. I did not know that. Interesting. All right, let's get back, guys. And we will see. Oh, one more thing. Tara says, is Bobby Klintman? Oh, my bad. Is Bobby Klintman ever going to play? Probably not this season unless there's foul trouble. Guys who don't play in the regular season likely don't play much in the playoffs. But if you guys remember, I actually said, don't be surprised if one of these guys has an unsung hero signature game. Maybe it's Bobby, maybe it's Dennis Jenkins, maybe it's Sass. Like, one of these guys are going to have a game where they impact the game. Like somebody was saying, they're going to get I think it was Kenyatta say Stu's going to get a game winner. There's going to be some unsung heroes in this game, right? It's going to be some unsung heroes. I'm sorry, in the playoffs. It's going to be some unsung heroes in these playoffs. And I would not be surprised if guys like Bobby Clinton, who nobody has seen, nobody has scouted really this year, who I think is more ready than we may think, or than many may think, because I think he's ready. I think he could have one of those kind of games, but only in a pinch. He's not going to play just because. It's going to be because, Stu is in foul trouble, JD's in foul trouble, and also B-Ball Paul's in foul trouble, and Fontecchio's in foul trouble. Like, it has to be like that. It's got to be a situation to where you just have to play him, because, like I said, he hasn't played all year. So the last thing you want to do is just throw a guy to the wolves, to the fire in the playoffs where he's never been before, playing with guys who he has not played with before, right? Even if he was getting reps now with these guys, that to me would make more sense than playing him in the playoffs. Because, like, even then you can get him an opportunity when it won't hurt you. But when you got very little room for error in the playoffs, it's hard to pull a guy out like that and expect him to be successful unless you just need to put him in because of foul trouble or something like that. So, good question, Tara. Good question. All right. Now, let's get to, guys, the box score, and then we will call it a game. Or call it a night. I'm still thinking about the game. Call it a night. All right. So, guys, let's start with Cade Cunningham. Cade returned tonight, and he had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 4 fouls on 9 for 24 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 5 for 7 from the free throw line in 28 minutes. So, guys, Cade played the fewest minutes of the starters, and I'm not surprised because he missed the last 6 games, and he may have been a little bit winded. He definitely was a little bit rusty. Like, you guys can see it. He was rusty. Understandably so, he was rusty. In the beginning of the game, he had a gimme layup. He missed it, right? It was just a touch long. He missed it. He was irritated. He dropped his head. He couldn't believe it. But after that, he scored 5 points in a row and got a block in like 40 seconds span. So I'm like, all right, he's good. He's straight. Rust shaking off. But he had some moments. Like, he missed two free throws at the free throw line on 2 free throws. Like, he just did things that he doesn't usually do. And it happens sometimes when you're off. That's why I was saying, if you guys remember last show, I was saying, at least get him back the last 2 or 3 games of the year so he can have these games like this and get him out the way. Get the rust off in the regular season when it doesn't hurt you. Playoff times, you don't want that. So it was good to see him come back, shake some rust off, get into a little groove, which he did, right? You could tell he got into his rhythm, but and the thing was, he wasn't pressing. He was letting the game come to him. He wasn't taking bad shots. He wasn't forcing anything. More than anything, I was just watching to see how he looked physically. I was just trying to see how he looked physically. How he was moving on the court. He didn't really appear to be laboring or any discomfort. And in the second half, he really started to get hot. He was getting to the hoop, challenging big Zach Edey, right? Getting buckets on Edey. But he has to still be careful with the ball in big spots, right? I'm not expecting this to happen in the playoffs, but he did have a turnover late in the game that he can't afford to have in late game situations, right? I forgot who it was that stole the ball from him. Maybe it was, I forgot who it was. Was it Gigi Jackson? But late in the game, Cade turned it over. He got a swipe from him late in the game. So those are things he has to continue to be aware of. Before he went down, he wasn't really doing that. We know early in the year, he was kind of turnover prone. He had the 10 turnover game and everybody was losing their mind. But then after that, he went in a stretch of like 4 or 5 games where he had like 15 assists, three turnovers, 14 assists. Next game, 1 turnover, and then 12 assists and 2 turnovers, 10 assists. Like, he went on, before he got hurt, he was playing very, very well and taking really good care of the basketball. So I'm not going to get on him for this game. He had a bad game. He missed 6 games. I'm not going to turn around after 1 game and say Cade isn't a point guard, this and that. Guys, he made second team All-NBA, or he's going to probably make second team All-NBA playing the point guard position. He's a point guard, straight up. He's not perfect by any means, but you don't make, if you make second team or even third team All-NBA, that is a position you're supposed to be playing. You are not out of position if you're able to play that position and be an all NBA player. Like, come on, y'all. We gotta stop with this K not a point guard talk. We gotta stop with it. Just you can't look at one game and have and be a prisoner of the moment. Can't do it. You just can't do it. So you really just have to make sure that you're looking at the long-term vision, right? For Cade, it's about the long-term vision. Michael Hudson said Jalen Wills shut Cade down. He didn't shut him down, but I know what you're saying. Cade has to be careful with the basketball. He's got to be better. He's got to be better. But for him to be coming back, it's his first game in 6-7 games. He wasn't the problem. He was not the problem tonight at all. He made some mistakes, sure. Everybody did. He had some bad turnovers. Yep, he did. Got to clean those up. But he still gave me 25, 9, and 4. He only had 2 turnovers. That turnover he had was he only had one more other than that turnover. So I'm not going to get on him for having a turnover late in the game, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be fair and call it out, but I'm not going to overreact either. No need to overreact, guys. Just one game. He was off for a week or 2 weeks. So give him a break. Just give him a break, man. But aside from that, like I said, he looked good physically. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, don't re-aggravate anything like Tobias did a few nights ago against the Thunder. Don't come back too soon. Take all the time you need. And when you get back, look like you are in shape. And he looked like he was in shape. He did look tired a little bit, but he looked like he was okay physically. So that was the positive that I walked away with tonight. And I'm not worried about Cade as we get close to the playoffs. I would imagine he's going to play these last few games, or at least 2 or 3 of these last 4 games. And that's it. Right. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. Cade just got back, Nikki says. So yes, that's all it is. He's just shaking the rust off. He's shaking the rust off, man. And like I said, he does still have to work on his game, Mark Glenn. For sure. Like, you're right. I agree. He needs to tighten that handle even more. As a 6'7", 6'8" guard, I don't know why they haven't listed a 6'6". As a 6'7", I've seen him in person. He's not 6'6". As a 6'7", 6'8" guard, that's going to happen sometimes. Just the other night, you saw Luka get his cookie snatched. I believe it was Draymond Green, right? When the Warriors beat the Lakers. And Luka is one of the best at protecting the ball in the league, right? So it happens. And that was a late game situation, right? It happens. So you can't just look at one game, one play, and overreact. Look at the body of work. Look at what he's done all season. He's an all-star. He's an all-NBA player playing the point guard position, period. No more to say about it. That's what you got to just live with the bad and be happy with the good, because there's much more good than there is bad. And I'm keeping it a beam with y'all. You got to keep these things in perspective. All right. Let's move on to Dennis Schroeder. So first of all, guys, I was surprised to see him actually starting with Cade for the same reason that with Kenyatta, I think it was Kenyatta. Someone, I may be wrong, but somebody in the chat said they want to start Stu with JD. I don't want to do that for the same reason. I don't want to start Cade and Schroeder. I want to start the best 2 guys at that position together, because JD and Stu are your best bigs. You play them together, you're going to struggle on the bench. Cade and Schroeder, as of right now, are your only 2 quintessential original point guards, natural point guards, right? So with them playing together, I was kind of perplexed to see how that was going to work. And honestly, I didn't like it. I didn't like how it looked. They have looked okay before. Cade and Schroeder, they've looked okay all right before. You know, giving Cade another option off ball, another playmaker, that always helps, gives you more space to operate and things like that. Guys can't key on you. It won't be 10 eyes on defense watching you, all that stuff, right? I get it. But I would have rather went a different direction. I would have rather started Beasley, who's a shooting guard, than to start Schroeder. Because at least with Beasley as shooting guard, you can still have Schroeder off the bench with a guy like Sasser, or Stagger and have Tim Hardaway Jr. in there with Schroeder. You can do some different things, but the lineup is more balanced. You don't have a gaping hole when you go to your bench. And that's what the Pistons had when they went to their bench as far as the point guard spot. We had Sasser, and he gave us some minutes. He played solid. But as far as our rotation, it was unbalanced when you got Schroeder and Cade together, unless you stagger. And even when you stagger them, say you stagger and Cade goes to the bench and Schroeder's still in the game, he moves to the point. Much like how Jaden did with Cade, right? Even when you do that, though, with those 2, it's still not a really good look. because one of those guys is still going to be tired. Even though Schroeder's in the game, he's facing the backup point guard who was fresh. So it's going to be harder to defend. It throws off your whole balance of your rotation. So that's why I really wasn't too keen and excited about seeing that. And honestly, it didn't look good to me. It looked like Schroeder was kind of just out there. He's used to having the ball in his hands, the same way Cade is, and that's why Cade can play more off ball, in my opinion. Schroeder can at times, but Schroeder looked kind of lost out there because the last few games he has had the ball in his hands and he has played well in Cade's absence, right? But tonight he was kind of just there. He had 10 points, 4 assists, no steals, no blocks, no turnovers, so he didn't turn the ball over, to his credit, which he really hasn't been doing aside from last game. He shot 3 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line in 30 minutes. So he was okay. He didn't really give us a lot of production. Like I said, it felt like he was kind of just out there. Maybe that was part of maybe that's what coaches, once again, experimenting, trying to get different, like I mentioned earlier, trying to get different guys playing different lineups. If that's the case, okay, cool. But I don't want to see Schroeder and Cade in the playoffs at the same time. I don't want to see that. I really don't. I think we have enough guys on this team who can make things a little bit easier for Cade off ball as far as taking attention off of him. I would much rather have a guy like Schroeder who can put the ball on the floor, who can play make a little bit on the court with Cade, but who's primarily a catch and shoot guy, a better fit, in my opinion. That's what I would do in the playoffs. I don't like this Schroeder, Cade. I just don't like how it looks. We're going to get to this. Last time I checked the score, what's the score right now, guys, in this Bucks game? They're playing the Heat. I have my eye on that, and that's part of the reason why I think we're going to stay exactly where we are at 6. But when I last checked, I think the Bucks were down 4 or 5 in the third quarter. So you guys check for me. Let me know what the numbers is on that, because we're going to talk about that, the standings, and this game once the game finishes. We'll probably still be here. Chuck Brewer says, Bucks up 2 in overtime, 30 seconds. How does Giannis look? Does Giannis look like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder more than usual? Does it look like he's really trying to get dubs right now so he can potentially play the Pacers and get their rematch and revenge because he was hurt last year for that round and they lost and they won the game when he was there and lost all the other games when he wasn't, and the Pacers were gloating even though he didn't play? Maybe that's why he's playing so hard. I'm just saying. All right, so we'll see. You guys keep me posted on that, all right? Mark Glenn says, and you guys forget how much relief Ivy will take from Kate. Thank you, Mark. You know ball. I say Ivy is going to be a big reason we make a bigger jump next year. 100%. 100%. I selfishly don't want him to come back because Tobias, right? Tobias came back too early. I just always wonder. I always worry about that. Guys coming back too soon. I don't want him to come back and hurt himself again. I really don't. And I have no reason to think he will. I just want him to be okay long term. You know what I mean? For his own sake, for his own career, aside from the season. Like long term, the Pistons are gonna be back. They're gonna be back in the playoffs. I could be wrong. That could be like the parent in me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't get hurt, be careful, the kind of thing. I just want him to be careful. If he's good to go and he can add to this team, y'all know how I feel about J.I. That's my guy. So I'd love to have him back, but only if he is ready here and healthy down here with his leg. So we'll see. Marvin says, Bucks win. Hey, okay. So guys, now you understand why I was saying what I was saying last show, right? About why I think the Pistons are going to stay right at 6 and the Bucks are going to go to 5. The Bucks are playing to win games right now. The Bucks are trying to. I'm telling you guys, I have no inside information on this. I'm just telling you what I saw last year with that series and how it ended and how the Pacers were really gloating without even Giannis being around. And Giannis didn't forget that. So now it's like they're watching the standings. He sees what needs to happen for them to play the Pacers again. He sees. And the Pistons on the flip side don't need to win any games right now. If we lose games, it ensures we play the Knicks. So we don't need to win. We want the Knicks. The Bucks look like they're trying to win because they want the Pacers. You see what I'm saying? That is why I was saying I think the Bucks are going to stay right at 5 and we're going to go to 6. And that's how it's going to play out. Could be wrong. Still 4 games left. We play the Bucks twice at the end of the year. We're going to get to that later. But that's why I kind of see that happening. So we'll see. All right. Thanks for the update, y'all. Appreciate y'all as always. Always. All right. So now let's go to Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 2 for 10 shooting, 1 for 7 from 3, 4 for 4 from the free throw line in 32 minutes. First time in a long time I can say Tim Hardaway Jr. had a bad game. It has been a while since I have said that he's had a bad game. And not even just scoring-wise, but just the shooting. Defensively, he was sound. He's always sound defensively. He always plays really good defense, good team defense, good individual defense, smart defense. He's a smart basketball player. He's not glamorous. He's not the shiny new toy, but he is just effective. He's effective and he's consistent. But tonight, he didn't shoot the ball well. That happens. He did hit his free throws, again, all of them. But he didn't shoot well. It happens. Like I always say, guys, whenever he has to move up to the 3 is when it seems to have more trouble. This is why Asar coming back from that blood clot when he did really changed everything for this team. It wasn't J.I. going down and J.I. doesn't fit, and that's why, no. It was the fact that Tim Hardaway Jr. had to play the 3 when Jaden was playing the 2. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not a 3. So when you're guarding guys bigger than you every night, 20, 30 pounds heavier than you every night, 2 or 3 inches taller than you every night, that affects your legs. And that is, as a result of a jump shooter who shoots from their legs, it affects your shot. And once again, Tim Hardaway Jr. had to play the 3, move up a size, and guard bigger guys, and it looked like it affected his legs again. When Asar's at the 3 instead of the 4, and Tim Hardaway Jr. is at the 2 instead of the 3, when they're all in their natural positions, it looks much better. It looks much better. And I think Tim Hardaway Jr. was just one of the casualties of the roster shakeup. That's what it comes down to. You're not going to shoot well every night, but especially when you're guarding bigger guys who are physical, who make you work, and who have the ability with their physicality to take your legs from under you. Just body you, right? That affects you, right? As somebody who played at a lower level, it affects you. I'm not the biggest guy in the world to begin with. I'm a point guard. So when I get switched on the bigger guys, I'm trying to body them. They're too big. It affects your jumper. It just does. You try to overcompensate on your shot because your legs are tired, and then your shot is off, right? First possession, you're tired, comes up short. Next possession, you try to overcompensate, and it's long. Like you're just not used to the feel, the regular twitch that you're used to. So I think with Tim Hardaway Jr., that's what happened. That's what happened. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. But I'm not gonna fault him. He just didn't shoot well tonight, and it's the first time in a long time we can say that. The last 4 games, I think he's had 23, 22, 23, or 23, 20, 22, and 32. So he's allowed to have a 9-point game, a bad shooting night every once in a while, especially when he's giving you what he's giving you on the defensive end effort-wise, and when he's playing out of his spot. Like, come on, you can't fault him for that. So I'm not mad at him at all. Not mad at him at all. All right. Now, let's go to, let's see, who we got next? Let's go to Asar Thompson, man. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Asar had 18 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Once again, I always start laughing when I get to the stocks, to the steals and blocks. It's like he stuffs the stat sheet, it seems like, every game now. 18 points, 11 boards, leading the team, 11 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 for 9 from the field. He misses only 3, shot 4-6 from the free throw line in 31 minutes. First and foremost, guys, did anybody see that chase down block? Did anybody see that chase down block on Gigi Jackson? Anybody? Guys, this dude, man, this is not hyperbole. This is not tongue-in-cheek. Asar Thompson is one of the most freakishly athletic athletes I've ever seen. Not basketball players, athletes. This dude, man, was looking like Tayshaun Prince blocking Reggie Miller, but jumping off a trampoline. Like his speed, he should have had no chance to chase him down. The ground he had to cover as quick as he did is insane. Is insane. Like he was barely even in the frame on my flat screen when the ball left Gigi's hands. And out of nowhere, he just comes flying out of, like, his speed is crazy, guys. For my Marvel fans, my MCU fans, it looked like in an Infinity War in Wakanda, when Captain America and Black Panther were outrunning the rest of the army, right? Just running away from them. That's how they looked. That's how Asar looked, running away from his teammates and from the rest of the Grizzlies on the break, trying to get past them to get to Gigi Jackson. Like, that's literally what it looked like as I was watching it. Asar Tasmanian Thompson is a freakishly dangerous athlete, man. For those who don't understand the Marvel reference, I have another one for you. Imagine you're at the airport and you see somebody running full speed, but they're running full speed while on a conveyor belt, right? You know those conveyor belts when you can stand on them and they carry you? You can decide to walk or just stand there. Imagine somebody running full speed while on the conveyor belt. You know, the auto walk machine, the speed walk machine, whatever you want to call it. Imagine somebody running full speed on one of those. That's what it looked like watching Asar Thompson. Like, he literally is that fast. It's like watching, one more. It's like watching a YouTube video and turning the speed up to 1.25 instead of just 1.00, instead of regular. Just going a little bit faster. That's how he looks on the court. Like, it's insane. Like, watching highlights of him, I got to double check. When I watched the Houston's, because his brother is just as athletic. Watching the Rockets highlights last night, some of his movements, I'm like, am I on the right speed? It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, Devon, the moving walkway. Whatever you want to call it, the conveyor, whatever it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. Y'all all been to the airport. Y'all all traveled. So y'all know. Imagine somebody moving that fast on one of those. That's what Asar Thompson is, bro. He doesn't make sense. He doesn't make sense. Heisenberg Blue. He looked like DK Metcalf chasing down that guy trying to go for the pick. Great example. That is a great example, bro. That is a great example. I could see Asar playing something like a DB, a corner, or a safety if he played football, because he can chase anybody down. That's a great example. Heisenberg Blue. I think it looked like it was going to be a touchdown from like 90 yards, 100 yards touchdown, and there's nobody in the frame at all. But once he gets to the 20-yard line, out of nowhere, here comes DK Metcalf chasing him down, and the guy the DB who was trying to get the touchdown didn't slow down. He was still running full speed. It wasn't like he was allowing DK to catch him. DK is just so fast that it didn't matter. So yeah, exactly. His recovery ability is insane. He does things that most guys are not able to do, and that's what covers up a lot of Asar's mistakes. His raw ability is getting covered up because he has so much raw ability, but it's raw, right? So D. Davis says it looks like he's in the air. Yeah, he just hangs up there. Trampoline style. He just hangs up there. Tayshaun Prince style, right? Tayshaun Prince, but more athletic, which is crazy. Asar is more athletic than Tayshaun. Prime Tayshaun Prince. This is crazy to say that, but he is. His foot speed, his hops. He's not quite as long and tall as Tayshaun. Tayshaun was 6'9", guys. Tayshaun was 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. So he made up for not being quite as fast as Asar by just being long. Just being long and tall. So, but the point is that Asar Thompson, guys, his athleticism is not going anywhere. As an athlete, he is going to continue to be that for a long time. So once the rest of his game catches up, game over. I just hope we can continue to work on that jumper and his handle. He gets those two things tight, it's over. It's over, guys. I can't wait to see a prime Asar, hopefully with the prime JD and the prime Cade and the prime Jaden, prime Stu, prime Ron Holland. You could say prime Beasley because he's pretty much playing like prime Beasley over his career right now. Best in his career. So we'll get to that. But yeah, Asar is insane, guys. Like he doesn't make sense. I know I keep saying it, but I've been watching basketball a long time, and it's only a few guys that I've ever seen that can move on the court the way he does. Not just the hops, but the speed. Not just the north-south speed, but the lateral quickness to stay in front of guys. So he's got a long way to go, but he's got a very high ceiling. But even with his raw ability, guys, I'm watching him offensively, right? He is looking more and more in control with the basketball now. I got to give him credit for that. Before the last few games, I was saying he's moving way too fast. Like he was looking like he's just trying to get rid of the ball because he's not confident in his handle and he thinks somebody's going to steal it. Right? But now he looks very much under control and he's still faster than everybody on the court. He's still faster. That's what I was saying before. Even if he slows down just a touch, he's still faster than everybody else. That's how fast he really is. So I was glad to see that for the third or fourth straight game now, he's been a lot more controlled. And like I've noticed it when he grabs and goes. Like I always say, he's one of the few guys in the league. He's one of the best at it as far as rebounding and being able to push without having an outlet pass. He's one of the best in the league at it. But in the past, when he would grab and go, certain times he would make a great play behind the back crossover for the reverse layup like we saw, right? But then other times he just loses the ball. And it's a 4 or 5 point swing because we could have had an easy layup, but he lost the ball. Now they're in transition and they get a night down 3. You know, so it's just the inconsistency with him that we would see. But the last few games, his pacing is much better. And now it's leading to positive plays, right? And even his playmaking. We talked about defense a lot, but offensively, he is making some strides. And I got to give him some credit. His playmaking also was on display. I think he had one pass. It was a nice lead pass on the backdoor cut to THJ for a layup. Nice read, nice pass, on time, on target. You know, and he also does a good job of initiating drives, even when he doesn't intend to drive the ball, right? It's kind of what I said before with Cade and Tobias or Schroeder with Ron Holland. Just making a move to the basket to get eyes on you to quickly give it up. Right, we see Cade do that for Tobias. It creates a driving lane for Tobias because the defense is out of position. They're too heavy on Cade because he's making a move, but he's just dropping it off. Now Tobias can go. It's the same thing Shorter does for Ron Holland, who also can get downhill and just go when he catches off the catch, right? And so Asar's doing that. He did that tonight, but it wasn't for driving lanes. He was just creating attention on himself because guys know he wants to get to the hoop. They know he's not a great shooter. So he creates the lane. He draws the attention. One dribble, kick, and he's finding Isaiah Stewart wide open, right? So he's doing other things than just trying to just go one-on-one with the swing through across to the basket for the late. Like he's trying to do other things now to get his teammates involved, and that's good to see from him as well. Offensively, his decision-making and his pacing is getting a lot better. One more thing on him. He is a much better finisher with that left hand than I thought. It was 3 or 4 plays tonight when he got into the paint and went jump hook lefty or layup lefty, contorting his body, layup lefty, and he was making them. Especially that jump hook though. Like he really is a lot better with his offhand than I thought. And that's what gives me confidence that he can be a good ball handler. Because if he can score with his offhand, he should be able to handle with his offhand. Because as of right now, his handle is ahead of his shot, right? His handle is ahead of his shot. Neither are great, but the handle is a little bit better than the shot, at least as far as confidence. He's more confident handling the ball than he is shooting the ball. So if he can develop that left-handed jumper consistently like he's doing with his offhand, then that gives me confidence that he can dribble and improve his left hand with his handle. So that gives me confidence. That gives me confidence, man. I gotta give him credit for that. I did not realize he was that good with his offhand. Much better with that hand than I remembered. But all in all, Asar played a good game tonight. It's unfortunate that he couldn't guard Bane because he had to get in the boards, and he did that. He got 11 of them. He led the team in rebounding. Just can't be 2 places at one time. So let's move on to Isaiah Stewart, the last starter. Then we'll go to the bench, right? Guys, Stu is back like he never left. He is back like he never left. 2 games off, who cares? This dude has 16 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 3 turnovers. He did have 5 fouls. He was the only big who could really guard in the paint. On 7 for 11 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3 in 34 minutes. Back like he never left, man. He got right. He hasn't started in I don't know how long. So not only did he come back from a 2-game absence, he came back from a 2-game absence and started. And was very, very effective in the minutes that he played. I think he scored the first bucket for the Pistons of this game on a dunk. And a minute or two later, he got a block on JJJ, one of 3 that he got on JJJ. JJJ obviously must be a glutton for punishment. He tried to dunk on Stu, I think, 2 or 3 times in the second quarter and got rejected over and over again. Like, some of Stu's blocks are just like, bro, how did you even see that? Like, how did you even see that? And how did you block that without fouling him, being as out of position as you were because you're trying to help on somebody else to recover to your own man? How? Like, some of the things he does, bro, at his size, and at this point, I'm not even going to qualify it anymore by saying, when I say it, it's to show how good he is anyway about his size and his athleticism. Like, I'm trying to show that he's still able to get it done. But it's getting to a point now where you don't even got to say it no more. Because I don't want to disregard at all. I don't want to disregard who he is at all. I'm going to stop saying, going forward, I'm going to stop saying, man, Stu for his size, man, Stu for his athleticism. No, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm just going to say what it is. Stu is one of the best defensive players in the game, period. Not for his size, not for his athleticism, just period. He is one of the best defensive bigs in the game, and he has earned that. He has earned that. He has earned for us to acknowledge him in that way. Ben Wallace Jr. Ron Holland is Dog Pound Jr. He is Ben Wallace Jr. Stu is Ben Wallace Jr., man. For sure. And it was incredible just watching him, man. Like, the way you expect certain shots to go in when certain guys shoot them, I'm expecting Isaiah Stewart to block every shot when somebody tries to go at him. Like, it's getting to that level for me. Like, he has spoiled us defensively. I think he's leading the league in field goal percentage in the paint against at 46%. Like, huh? What? It's insane. So you really see the difference too. Like, when he is not in the game, when he's not available these last 2 games, he's not playing. You saw how little resistance there was at the rim compared to when he is there. It's like night and day. It is night and day. Yes, Heisenberg. Yes. He said, I think they said he has the best rim protecting percentage in the league. Yes, 46% at the rim when he's in there. Guys are scoring at that rate. I think Gobert's like 48 and a few other guys are a little bit higher, but he's at the very bottom of percentage. And by bottom, I mean top of the league as far as keeping guys at the bottom as far as their percentage. 46%. Insane. Insane, man. He just continues to impress me, bro. Like, there's nothing more I can really say. He's not going anywhere for a long. I said this last year. He's not going anywhere for a long time, guys. And now everybody's starting to see why, how important he is to this team. He's not a starter. Doesn't matter. Culture setter, consistency, high motor all the time. Doesn't play one play off. Takes no plays off. Always gives max effort on every possession. Diving off after every loose ball, every 50-50 ball. He's getting 75% of those 50-50 balls. The only thing that I will say about JD that he has to stop doing, he's getting a little bit dribble happy in the paint, right? He had a few turnovers trying to do too much when he got the ball in the paint, when he catch it out of a pick and roll, trying to dribble too much, right? I think he was kind of feeling himself a little too much after knocking down those threes. But that's the only thing. And maybe JD was whispering his, because, JD loves to do that. JD, whenever he gets a chance, loves to put the ball on the floor, inbounding the ball, trying to push up the floor. Like, I like JD stationary when he's playmaking. Mid post, out of the post. His vision then, finding cutters like Sasser or THJ. That's when I like JD with the ball, making passes. I don't want to see him dribbling to get into it, right? And tonight, it seemed like he kind of rubbed off on Stu a little bit, because I don't normally see Stu do that. It was like 2 or 3 times tonight he tried to put the ball on the floor, and maybe he had flashbacks of when he had Evan Mobley on skates. Maybe that's what it was, right? When he had him on skates and he finished and got that and one on him, maybe that's what it was. But because that was a beautiful play. That was one of his best plays of the year, and that was an offensive play, one of the best plays of the year. But that's the only thing about Stu I'll say. Is that Heisenberg, exactly what I said. We're on the same page tonight, bro, for sure. Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, after the last game, he played, exactly, Frank. That's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like he was like, I got this. And that happens. Like, it's kind of like when it's a heat, that was a heat check for him. Even though it wasn't a 3, he had it rolling. He's like, let me see what else I can get to offensively. right? I think that's what it was. We're not going to see that long term. That's not going to be a long term problem with Stu. I'm telling you guys that now. I'm just saying that was the only thing from tonight that I thought was like, come on, bro, chill just a little bit. Just chill, pull it back just a little bit, bro. But he earned it. The things he was doing defensively, I'm not even mad at it. I'm not even mad. Chess Ready says Stewart out here like Theo Ratliff. Yeah, he's like Theo Ratliff, but with Ben Wallace perimeter guarding skills. That's the thing, Chess Ready. Like, Theo was a great interior. Theo was the next coming of Dikembe Mutombo for Atlanta. Right? But I think Theo was actually first. So I will flip that. Theo was Dikembe before Dikembe in Atlanta. Shot blocker, erasing everything at the rim. At the rim. But if you get him out on the island, on the perimeter, you better send that help. Trap. 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 Get the ball out of his hands. Trap. You know what I mean? Like, so that is the difference. With Stu on the island, ain't no trap. What you have is K go like this. That's what you got. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between Theo Ratliff and Isaiah Stewart. Is that Isaiah Stewart can guard 1 to 5. We said Asar can guard 1 to 4. Stu can guard 1 to 5 in the pinch. He's shown it. He's shown it all year. So that just shows you how good of a player he can be. Theo Ratliff was a great defensive player, but Stu can be a better defensive player because he's way more versatile. Theo couldn't guard 1 to 5. You know? He said, no, Theo played with Mutombo on the he was there with him. Okay. So the year the year they went to the finals against the Lakers in 01, when they lost in 5 games, when Iverson was there, they won game 1. They stunned the Lakers in game 1 and then lost the next 4. That was when he was there? I don't remember him being there. You could be right. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I didn't realize he was there during that time. But either way, if they have both of those guys, that's pretty good defensively. With Larry Brown as your coach, yes, that's good defensive. That's why they were in the finals, right? But yeah, it's just the versatility piece. That's really the only difference between a guy like Theo and a guy like Stu. Theo is great in the paint, but Stu is just great everywhere. Everywhere. So he said Theo was there. Okay, got you. I got you. All right. So yeah, guys, Isaiah Stewart, bro, incredible player, man. I love that dude. I really don't have anything negative to say about him. I rarely have anything bad to say about him because he just plays winning basketball every game. So with that, let's go to the bench, and then we will look at the standings, and then we will call it a night, my friends. So let's go. We're gonna go a few guys. Let's go with B's. So guys, okay. First things first, guys. Let's clap it up for Malik Beasley. Drop some fire emojis for Malik Beasley. Say, put Threesley in the chat for Malik Beasley. If you're doing a shimmy right now, put shimmy in the chat for Bees. Put some ice cold emojis in there. Whatever you want to put in there. Just give Bees some love right now. I'm going to explain why. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of what happened tonight when it came to Malik Beasley. But if you're not, I got you covered. This is what happened tonight, guys. Malik Beasley became the 5th player in NBA history. I'm going to say it again. Beasley became the 5th player in NBA history to make 300 threes in a season. The only other guys to do it are Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, James Harden, and Anthony Edwards, who also did it tonight. Believe it or not. I believe he also did it tonight too. So these guys, man, the way they're shooting the ball now is crazy. The way they're shooting the ball at this clip is insane. But I really wanted to shout out Bees, man. I had to shout him out because the things that he's doing for this team, guys, he is on a 1-year, $6 million deal. For reference, Fontecchio is making $16 million over 2 years. So Fontecchio is making more than Bees, and he's got a longer contract. Crazy, right? We got the best offseason signing. Guys, I'm gonna say this. First and foremost, Beasley just punched his ticket for 6th Man of the Year. He set an historical record. He put himself in the record books with some of the best shooters and scorers of all time. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they're both, in my opinion, top 5 shooters ever. Ever. James Harden is one of the top 5 all time in 3-pointers made. He passed Reggie Miller. He's MVP. Like, you're talking about some of the best shooters to ever do it. Ever do it. I'm not going to put Ant-Man up there yet as one of the best shooters because he's not shooting at the rate that those guys were. But he's knocking them down. He's knocking them down. But Beasley has been consistent all year long. He hit the ground running, man, this season. For him to make $6 million, the Pistons better at least double him up. Give him $12 million at least per season. I would maybe go as high as 15. Because you still got to get other guys. You still got to get a 4, right? Maybe not. You don't need it next year, but it'd be nice to have it next year as you're trying to make that jump to the next level. Tobias is good, but so you don't need it, but I would love to have it next year, going into next year, trying to go to that next level. Talking maybe conference finals contending, right? But Beasley has been so consistent, man. He's been so consistent. Now look, Devon says, I think Beasley might take a discount. I think the only way he does that is if he's, first of all, confident that we can win a championship in the next, over the duration of his next contract, like say 3-4 years. I would sign him for 3 years. 3-year deal, I'll give him $12 million a year. I think it would need to be like that because, like you said, he does have roots. He has roots here. His mom is from here. He's spent a lot of time here. He gets in the community a lot. He does a lot of things for the community. He drops off random shoes on a Snapchat downtown Detroit just to random fans who finds him. And then what he does with his team, the confidence he gives his team, the way he is gassing these guys up on social media and just always giving them confidence and reassurance. Yeah, he's worth 2 or 3 times what he's making right now. So if he does, I think that's a conversation you allow him to initiate that. You know what I mean, Devon? You don't go to him and ask him to take a discount after what he did this year. He may do it, but out of respect for him and out of respect for what he's done for your team, for your core, wins aside, playoffs aside, what he's done for the development of your core is invaluable. So I'm not going to have that conversation with him. If anything, that's just me. If anything, I'm going to lay it out for him and say, look, if we give you this, we can make that. If we give you this, we can. If we give you this, we can get this guy. If we give you that, we might be to get that guy, but I'm not sure. What do you think? That's what I'm doing with him. I'm literally giving him that because he's earned that. Because as a Pistons fan and as I'm sure Trajan wants him to stay. I think he wants him to stay. So I think everybody wants him to stay, including him. So that's how I would approach that with him. But either way, if he does, that'd be great for the team. But I don't want him to shortchange himself but at the same time, you gotta think team too, right? You gotta think team. So if the Pistons offer him $15 million, I'm doing that. I'm not thinking twice. Give him 2 or 3 years, and that's that. Because this guy, man, he's 5th player ever to score to get 3 threes on a $6 million contract for 1 season. That's crazy. that doesn't even make sense. Trajan Langdon chefed on that free agent signing. That guy's, in my opinion, because when you think about it like this, right? So he's at 300, I think, on the nose. I think he's got 300 exactly, right? So earlier this season, he shattered the Pistons franchise record for 3-pointers made early in the season. I think it was even before the All-Star break. He destroyed it. It wasn't he already got the record already. And the previous record was held by Saddiq Bey. He had 211. Beasley is probably going to end up with 311. Shooting 42% from 3. Saddiq Bey shot 35% from 3. So Beasley is going to have 100 more threes than Saddiq Bey, who I love, by the way. He's going to have 100 more threes than him, shooting 8% better from 3. What? What are we talking about? I don't want to hear anything about anybody saying they shouldn't pay him. There's no conversation to be had. There's none. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Lawrence King says Beasley is the best of all time in 3-pointers and will be. Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys that because I personally think it's only 1 season, But I think it's not a stretch to say that Malik Beasley is the best shooting Detroit Piston ever. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody who has been this consistent game to game over the course of a season more than Beasley. You got guys like John Barry, got guys like Anthony Tolliver. Go back further, you got guys like Terry Mills, who was a really good shooter. He was a stretch four. Terry Mills was a clip, guys. During the Teal days, 93, 94, 95, 96, that time, Terry Mills, guys, I think it was 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", and he was a bucket, man. So if you want to go that route, okay, I still think Bees is more consistent. You know, Joe Dumars was a good three-point shooter, but he wasn't consistent like this. Chauncey I think Chauncey's a fair comparison to have, but I don't even know if Chauncey was as consistent, guys. Chauncey never shot 40% from three. You know what I'm saying? It's different. And Chuck, that's a good point. You can't compare eras. Bad Boys didn't shoot it. Dumars might have been interesting in today's game. That's a very fair point. That's why it's hard to get into the eras, but I'm just going off what I see. Allen Houston was also a very good shooter. I think he shot 42% one year. So he may be in the conversation for sure. But he didn't shoot it right. He didn't shoot it as much. And that's why it's hard to compare the game, to compare eras. But yeah, Frank, you remember, he was ahead of his time, man. The same way Bill Laimbeer was ahead of his time as a stretch four, stretch five, big. He was one of the first guys to ever consistently shoot it deep from three. You know? So, but either way, whether you want to say Bees or Allen Houston or Chauncey or Terry Mills or John Big, cool. I'm not mad at any of those. Jarvis Hayes was not the best three-point shooter. we had a lot of guys who were supposed to be good, but that they weren't good. You know, they had a lot of guys like that. Austin Davis was supposed to be a good three-point shooter. He wasn't. Jarvis Hayes supposed to be good. He wasn't. Wayne Ellington, he really didn't shoot that well for us. They called him the golden arm. He didn't really do much for us. We had a lot of guys. Gigi Datomi was supposed to be the best shooter overseas. He didn't do anything here. We had a lot of guys on this team who were supposed to be good shooters, but weren't good shooters at all. At all. Ben Gordon is another one, right? Underachieved. Devon, you remember? Come on, man. Don't do killing like that. I'm done with you. See, y'all always take it too far. Y'all always go too far with it. All right. Let's get back. I say all that to say Beasley deserves every flower that comes his way. Every single one. And I hope the Pistons get the job done. I'm confident they're going to get the job done. The vibes with him and the rest of the team is at an all-time high. The vibes, guys, have not been this high since the early 2000s, mid-2000s. I am dead serious. The vibes have not been like this at all, where the team likes each other and likes spending time together and likes going out together and just likes hanging out together, like on the video game, right? They just like spending time with each other off the court. That's how the going to work team was. They knew each other's families. They had dinner at each other's houses, right? They had outings, team outings together on their own time. Like, that's what Bees is bringing. He's bringing that connectivity to the team. He's the perfect age. He's vested a perfect age to where they're old enough to be respected as Uncle T, right? But they're also young enough to still be relevant with today's landscape. It's perfect. And Bees, more importantly, he's a little bit older, but he's a young soul. He's current. He's hip with what's going on, you know? So, yeah, I love what we're getting from him, bro. I love what we're getting from him. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next the next bench guy, and let's go to Sasser. So Sasser had 7 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 board, 1 foul on 3 for 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3-point line in 25 minutes. So, guys, Sasser is a professional scorer. He is a professional scorer. He is just a bucket. Tonight, he did some good things. He knocked down some threes. He was able to get into the lane and convert on some tough finishes over the trees in Memphis, right? Over Jaren Jackson and Edie. He was really getting some tough finishes, man. I don't know how he was. I do, because I'm used to doing that. I do a lot of that same stuff as far as getting shot off against bigger guys. But the way he does it is just impressive. And you can see that he's getting more comfortable, right? Not just with his own offense and confident with his own offense, but just getting other guys involved and learning different sets. I see the Pistons running different sets now. A lot of the sets, some of the sets that they tried to run with him early in the season, they're running them now again, and he is looking much more comfortable with them. Early in the season, he just kind of didn't look like he knew what he was supposed to be doing. It looked like he was really just trying to learn, but now it looks like he understands the sets. He's had enough reps with his guys, and he's making crisp passes on time, on target, and he's doing it with intention. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do, when he's supposed to do it, and he's doing it. And he's making the right reads. So, like early in the season, once he passed the ball, he wasn't getting it back. Because it's like he didn't know how to continue the play to run the offense all the way through if something broke down, if the first option wasn't there. Like being the quarterback, it's like he had one down, but if that broke down, he didn't know where to go and he passed the ball. And then Tobias tried to make a play or Beasley. But now it's like the ball is in his hands more in those situations, and he's actually running offensive sets. And now he's making the right passes on time, on target. But that happened because he had to learn it. He had to learn the offense. He didn't have JB last year, right? He didn't have these guys last season. So you got to consider that. It takes time. Like I always say, it takes patience for all these guys for different reasons. With JD, it was getting the mental right. With KD, it was getting the turnovers down. With Sasser, it's learning the offense, learning how to become a point guard at some point. But it's still time. All these guys individually need time, and everybody was so quick to just move on these guys before the time was given. Nobody's successful that way. So I'm glad, once again, that Trajan is slow rolling this thing with everybody and seeing exactly what he has out of all these guys, right? So Sasser was okay. He was solid. He didn't play. It wasn't a glamorous game because he only played 15 minutes, but he was good. He was good. And defensively, he's a pit bull. So he got after it. Ron Holland, guys, had 3 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 for 1 shooting, 1 for 2 from the line in 10 minutes. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. Ron's defensive versatility is a strength for this team. It's a weapon for this team. On back-to-back possessions defensively, he put Scottie Pippen Jr., a speedy guard, in jail in the half court and turned him over. His ability to be able to guard guys like Scottie Pippen on the perimeter, put him in jail, and then on the very next possession defensively, block Jalen Wells at the rim, who's much bigger, and much more athletic and stronger. It just shows much like Asar, his versatility, much like Stu, his versatility defensively. Most of the guys that Ron Holland is guarding when he comes to the game are speedier, shorter, quicker guards. But he is long enough and quick enough to stay in front. He plays defense very well with his feet. He moves those puppies. So whether it's Peyton Pritchard off the bench or even some starters, whether it's Maxey or even trusting him guard Trey, tonight, Scottie Pippen, whoever he's guarding, most of the time you'll notice is a smaller guy than him. But he's a bigger guy. He's a big wing, but he's got guard foot speed. He's got guard measurables as far as being able to move and twitchy. He's twitchy like a guard, and he's built like a forward. So his versatility, man, is a strength already. That's what enables him to be so good already without scoring a basketball, is that he's just able to do so many things for you on the court. And as he develops his body and gets stronger, gets that NBA body, he also is going to be able to guard 1 through 4 effectively, the same way Asar guards 1 through 4 effectively. Right? So I love the versatility, man, that this team has. They have so much versatility, especially defensively. They got so many guys who can guard so many different positions. And it makes it hard to score at times when you're linked on a string. So, that's the biggest thing for me with Ron. He didn't have a crazy stat line, only 3 points. He made his only shot. But his defense, man, his defensive versatility is great. It's great, man. So that's it really for the starters. I mean, we had Paul Reed and Montecchio. They played. Paul Reed didn't really give us much. He had 2 points. on 1 of 5 shooting. He had 3 boards, 2 assists, turnovers. He played big for the role that I think he's been asked to play. He's just not, in my opinion, a third big that you can win a championship with or that you can contend for the finals with. I just think we got to upgrade that. But he wasn't bad. He just really just didn't give us a ton. But he tried. He battled. He battled on the boards, but he just didn't give us much production. And that happens. So we'll see what happens with that. But also, Fonseca, 2 points, 2 steals, 4 boards, 1 foul on 0 for 4 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3, 2 from the free throw line. So it's like one or the other with him. Like either he's knocking down shots and taking a bunch of other shots he shouldn't be taking, or he's playing great everywhere else and he can't throw it in the ocean. He's at that point early in the season. He was knocking down shots here and there. He had a 20-point game, a 15-point game. Far and few between, but he had it. But he also be trying to do too much. Like he would go too far and try to put the ball on the floor and try to play make and turn it over and all these other things. And right. But he would get the points, but he would also get the turnovers too and play out of a scope. Now the turnovers are down. He's playing a niche role that the Pistons need him to play, a very specific role, but his shot has betrayed him now. He just can't seem to put it all together. It's one or the other. And that's what's unfortunate. It's like the defense is there, great. You play to your strengths, great, but now your shot's not falling. Earlier in the season, your shot was falling here and there, but you was doing way too much and turning the ball over. Like, we just can't get everything on the same page. Last year, he was doing both. Last year, he was playing really good defense. He was showing that he could do more offensively. He was a great finisher. He was a great cutter. His awareness was great, right? But it's just like this year, for some reason, he just can't put both sides of the basketball together, the defense and the offense. I don't know why. I really don't know why. He's the only guy, guys, who from beginning of the season to the end of the season has not really improved. Everybody else on this team has improved. 1 through 12, 1 through 15. Everybody has gotten better. Every starter's gotten better. Even Jaden, before he went down, was playing the best basketball of his career, of his life. He had improved greatly. And he was right about to go to the next level, but he got hurt. But every guy on this team outside of Tech has really improved. And I got to call it as it is. It don't look good. It don't look good. So we'll see what happens in the offseason. Hopefully in the playoffs, he can give us some shot making while still staying to the principles and staying in his role that they need him to stay in. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to expect it in the playoffs when you really haven't done it in the season because you want to have that rhythm going into the playoffs. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm preparing for the worst. I'm going to just leave it at that. So, guys, that is it for the box score. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. And unlike last time, I'm going to do one last refresh. So that way I am not wrong in my numbers and you guys ain't got to call me out and correct me on that. So let's go ahead and pull it up. I just refreshed. Let's go ahead and pull this up and see what the NBA standings are currently looking like. So guys, as of right now, as you guys can see, the Bucks have won 3 straight. The Pacers have won 3 straight. And we have lost 1. And games are getting less and less. So as I said before, I believe the Pistons are going to go to 6, fall to 6, which they did tonight. They're going to play the Knicks in the first round, who are winning. They are not going to get caught by the Pacers. They are 3 games back with 4 or 5 games to go. They're not catching the Pacers. The Bucks also are not catching the Pacers. I'm sorry, the Pacers are not catching the Knicks. I'm sorry. The 3 games back to the Knicks, the Pacers are not catching the Knicks. Not happening. Which also means the Bucks are not catching the Pacers. Because they're also 3 games back of them. As you see, the Bucks have won 3 straight. But look, like I said, the Pacers are hot, guys. I've been saying this for like 2-3 weeks. This is why I don't want to play them in the first round. I think between the Knicks, Pacers, and Bucks, the Pacers give us the least likely chance to win the series. Their stretch bigs, their experience. I just don't like that matchup. So, last night, we were a half game up on the Bucks. Now we are a half game back of the Bucks because we lost and the Bucks won. If we stay here, we play the Knicks, guys, which is why, honestly, I wasn't too bothered by losing tonight. And I knew the Bucks were going to win. I said it last stream. The Bucks guys are on their way to playing the Pacers because they want their revenge from last year's playoffs. Giannis got hurt in game 1 of that series. They won that game. They lost the series in 6. The Pacers gloated, even though Giannis wasn't there. Giannis did not forget that, which is why you see him playing so hard, trying to win every game to make sure he gets his revenge against that same team. To show, hey, y'all, don't get it twisted. Just because y'all won, y'all know I was hurt, right? Oh, y'all think y'all would have won anyway? Okay, let's play again in the playoffs and see what happens. He's playing like that. He's playing like that. So they have initiative to win games. They have initiative to win games. At least he does. Probably the whole team. The whole team probably feel the same way he do. All the Bucks probably feel they're better than the Pacers. And with Bobby Portis about to come back, he missed 20 games. He's going to come back the next couple games. And Dame Lillard, who had the blood clot, is way ahead of schedule. Doc Rivers said that the numbers came back and they are phenomenal. And that it's looking like he may be back before the playoffs start. So you're getting Dame back before the playoffs start. You're getting Bobby Portis back before the playoffs start. And you got an uber hella motivated Giannis all ready to go at the Pacers. They have reason to keep winning. The Pistons don't have reason to keep winning. The Pistons right now should be trying to rest guys, get guys healthy, and get guys back into rhythm for playoff form. That is it. If you bring back guys back too soon, like I think happened to Tobias, you risk further injury in the playoffs. Right? Why would you risk one of your starters getting hurt in the playoffs by bringing him back too soon when the only reward for winning these games is playing the Pacers instead of the Knicks? What sense does that make? Right? Doesn't it make more sense to play a team that is going to get you much more fanfare in the playoffs just because you're playing them in one of the most iconic arenas in the world at Madison Square Garden? And to add on top of that, you match up better with that team. And the icing on the cake is that you get to rest guys in the process because you're losing those games probably. Why would you do anything else? That's all those things, guys, is why I said the Pistons are going to be at 6 and the Bucks are going to be at 5 weeks ago. That's why I said that. So like I said, I could be wrong. We'll see. But it doesn't look like it's going to change from here, guys. I don't think we're going to overtake the Bucks because even if we tie with the Bucks today, they're still 5 and we're still 6 because they own the tiebreakers. They own the division record over us. They're 7-7. We're 5-9. As you guys can see right there, right? They're 7-7. We're 5-9. They have a better conference record as of right now at a half game. So that's what matters. And like I said before, these could change the last 2 games of the season. It's going to come down to the last 2 games of the season. If we split the last 2 games of the season with the Bucks, as of right now, we're going to be 6 and they're going to be 5 because we are 0-2 against them right now. So if we split, we'll be 1-3. Which means we'll also lose another division game, which means we'll also lose another conference game. So and last thing on that, like I said yesterday's show, look at losses. Don't look at wins. The Pistons right now can make up wins, right? You can't make up losses. Once you lose, you better hope the other team also loses. If the Bucks win out, it don't matter what the Pistons do. If the Pistons went out and the Bucks went out, it don't matter because the losses are what matter. You see what I'm saying? If we lose more games than they do, there's nothing we can do but hope they lose as many games as we do. But if they win more games than we do, we can make those wins up. That's in our court. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. It's so many variables for me that point to us playing the Knicks and the Bucks playing the Pacers. Mega Hustler says, JB rested JD. Yes, JB rested JD for a reason. I don't think JD's hurt. He may have a little bit of bruises here and there. Maybe a little bit. He may be tired. He played great last night. But all these things are happening for a reason, guys. is playing out this way on purpose, right? It's playing out this way on purpose. It's looking toward the future. So we'll see. But as of right now, that is where we stand. So we got 4 more games. We'll see how it plays out over the next 4 games. But as of right now, I think the standings as they sit, it's how it's going to be in the playoffs. And I think the Pistons are going to win that first round series against the Knicks, like I said when I tweeted it 2 days ago. Win this series and then go from here. And I think the Pacers are going to lose to the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to beat the Pacers in that first round if they play them. So I got Bucks over Pacers in probably 6, Pistons over Knicks in 6 or 7. I'm calling it now. Calling it now. So we'll see. All right. One more thing, guys, and we will call it, right? So the last thing we're going to look at here before we get out of here is the remaining games. Y'all know we do this every stream. Every show we do this, right? Because y'all ask for it. So if you ask, you shall receive. So as of right now, guys, the Pistons have 4 more games. Now, listen, I predicted the Pistons are going to go 2-3 over these last 5 games. Remember that? Last show yesterday, I said the Pistons are going to go 2-3 over these last 5 games. As of right now, they're 0-1. So if they go 2-2 over these next 4 games, they'll be 2-3. So if they let's just say they beat the Kings and split 1 with the Pistons, or split 1 with the Bucks, right? So they beat the Kings Monday, lose to the Knicks on Thursday, which will make sense to do so. If you want to play that team, the Pistons probably going to rest all those guys against the Knicks, guys. The Pistons are probably going to rest some guys against the Knicks. They're not going to show the team that they're going to play a week later what they're doing. Like I mentioned earlier with JB, keeping his cards to his vest, keeping his hand to his vest. That's part of it. It's not playing everybody, not showing what you're going to do in the playoffs when you're going to play this team in a week and a half. So that's why I say the Pistons probably beat the Kings at home because they're better. And there's nothing that you have to hold to your vest. Just the Western Conference team is not even going to the playoffs. Don't matter. You win that game. You lose to the Knicks. And now you're at 1-2, right? 0-1 right here. 1-1 right here. 1-2 right here. 2-2. 2-3. Right? That's why I said the Pistons are going to go 2-3 to finish the season. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So we're going to check every game. We're going to check the box score, or not the box. We're going to check the standings. We're going to check the schedule. I'm going to keep you guys updated the whole way through. The whole way through. I'm going to hold everybody's hand. Make sure you're on the same page. Make sure we understand. Because look, this is fun. This is fun because we haven't been able to do this before. We haven't been able to do this. The last few years, we've been trying to get excited watching everybody else in the playoffs. Trying to find a secondary team, a tertiary team to go watch. Right? That sucks. So I'm enjoying this, in case you guys haven't noticed. I am enjoying this whole process. These last 2 games, I don't care. I don't care win or lose. As long as we healthy, going to the playoffs, I'm just sitting back, my popcorn, watching these games. Oh, we lost? That's unfortunate. Dang. The Knicks are looking more and more likely. That's a shame. I'm chilling. We're chilling. So it doesn't even. So don't get too upset when we lose games and guys make bad. Like these games don't really matter, y'all. As far as these are probably the least important games of the year because early in the year you're trying to establish who you are. You're trying to get guys on the same page. You're trying to make sure you understand what coach is telling. You're trying to understand how to play, your identity, and then consistency for a young team is hard. So every game in the season mattered. When you went 0-4 to start the season, that was important to go through that, right? But now you know who you are. You know how you got to play. You know who you're probably going to play in the playoffs, and you know you're going to the playoffs. So the only thing that matters now is health. Health in reps with these guys. That's the only thing that matters. If we were in a fight to get to the playoffs, you think we'd be sitting all these guys? If we were at 8, trying to fight and claw and scratch and get in, and we were in danger of falling to 9, 10, play in, you think we'd be sitting Cade and JD and Tobias and all these guys? No, because the games would mean more. The games don't mean as much now. Therefore, you can rest guys. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. So don't trip over these games, y'all. It doesn't matter. They matter in the sense of you want to go into the playoffs the right way. They do matter, but they don't matter nearly as much as other games. That's all I'm saying. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there and see what happens. Let me get a few more comments and we'll get out of here. Devon, I'm telling you, our Iggy will be watching the Pistons next series. Iggy saw Golden State Warriors and knew he could get a ring there. Oh, so you're okay. So Devon, who is our Iggy in your opinion? In your opinion, Devon, who is our Iggy? You know who mine is. In chat, y'all let me know before we get out of here real quickly. Who is your Iggy that we're going to add to this team? Who is your Rasheed Wallace? And I'm not saying anybody out there is going to have that impact or even is that talented as Rasheed, because they're probably not. And we can't afford that. We can't afford a guy that good with that cap space, right? We can't afford all that. But we can afford a guy that can complement and really help us out in areas we need. So who do you guys think is our Iguodala, our Rasheed Wallace addition to this team to take us to another level? Let me know. Good point, Devon. I agree with you. I want to see D. Davis says, I want to see Dennis and them play like, yeah, right. Last against the Bucks, I want to see Dennis Jenkins. I want to see more Lindy Waters. I definitely want to see Bobby Clinton. I want to see all those guys. Last game of the season, placate like 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, right? Play your starters a few minutes. The game don't matter. I'm trying to lose that game anyway from the Pistons. Best case scenario, you get all those guys time and we lose a tough one, right? That's perfect for me. Meaningful minutes, they play well, and we lose in the tough one because Giannis took over, because Giannis is trying to win these games. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want. So I'm with you, D. Davis. I want to see all those guys. I want to see all those guys. Heisenberg says, do you think the Knicks might do the same? As far as resting guys or as far as winning games? Because the Knicks are pretty much solidified with who they're going to play. Like, they're not catching anybody above them, and they're not falling below anybody below them. You know, the Pacers are below them, and who's above the Knicks? The Celtics are like 8 games ahead of the Knicks, and the Pacers are 3 games behind the Knicks. So, like, the Knicks are going to be at 3. They're going to be at 3. Like, unless they just make it obvious that they're trying to avoid the Pistons and just start losing a bunch of games. But I don't think they, like, the Bucks ain't much, or the Pacers, let me see, if they went to 4, yeah, they played the Bucks. The Bucks ain't going to be much easier than the Pistons. You know what I mean? I think the Pistons are the better team. They probably get the Knicks more trouble. But the Bucks with Dame and Portis coming back that's not going to be way easier. So the Knicks are going to be at 3. In my opinion, they're going to stay right there at 3. I don't really see that changing. As far as resting against us, maybe, but I don't think it's going to make much difference. I don't, even that one game. They may, but I don't think it's going to matter. But we'll see. All right. So we can call it there, guys. I'm just checking the comments, making sure I don't miss anything. Devon says Knicks will play everyone 60 minutes. They will work OT even when it's no OT. Right. Yeah, that's what Coach Thibodeau always does. That's why his teams always fizzle in the playoffs. The Timberwolves, the Bulls, like all of his teams do that. The Knicks, they all fizzle in the playoffs because they're burned. They're gassed. So I don't even know, Reisenberg, if they're going to do that. Because Coach Thibodeau has been known not to do that. I don't know why he would now, because it does, once again, like the Pistons, the wins and losses don't change anything right now. So why would you play your guys? We'll see. We got to wait and see. D. Davis says, all I know, I better see Bobby, Tolu Smith, Lindy, Danis play next game. I don't know about next game. I think the Pistons may want to get the starters a few more, a game or two more, more reps just to make sure everything is tight. I think the last 2 games, D. Davis, you might see them. Like the game, extended minutes, right? Where you see all these guys. I think the Bucks games, the games when we can really make sure that we stay where we are, for sure. I think that may be the games that we see those guys, especially because we're probably going to still see Giannis in those games. So we'll see. 2 more and we're done. Devon, I think we have all our guys, but it's going to be an unknown. It's going to be someone no one would think of or likes. Iggy wasn't a shooter and went to Golden State Warriors. She was a problem. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so it may not be the ideal guy or the hot name that everybody may be trying to go get, Phoenix. But my point is that I agree with you. It may not be what we expect. And I don't care. If it's somebody we don't expect and it's somebody who comes in and fits like a puzzle piece, like a glove, I'm all for it. So we'll wait and see. So with that, we'll end it. I'm not sure. What do you mean? Frank, I'm not sure what you mean with that. I'll look at that. I'm not sure what's going on with Harper Jr. But we'll leave it there, guys. Great show. Great, great stream, guys. Had a lot of fun doing this with you. So look, we will be back Monday night. I believe the Pistons play Monday. Yes, they play the Kings on Monday at 7 p.m. So you guys know I'll be here post game at around 9:45, 10 p.m. And we will all break that down together. We'll go through the box score. We'll go to initial thoughts. We'll do the standings. We'll do the implications for the playoffs. And then we'll do the schedule, right? So with that, it's been a great show. I appreciate all you guys' support. And as you guys already know, Detroit versus everybody. I'm out of here.
Rewind 2021. There was a parade in my city. Number one pick, dancing in the street. Everybody was hitting the gritty. Kid arrived in the D, and it was live as can be. They can ball, but we didn't want Green, Mobley, or Scotty B. No, when he got hurt, everyone lost it. Storylines leaking, no faucet. Caught him wash when he broke his tibia. All the haters, time to get it really Everybody wanna be Skip Bayless. Wanna throw shade, okay, say less. Juice went number one for a reason. It'll click by the end of the season. When he wins most improved player. Gonna be a movie, here's the trailer. Don't say I didn't try to warn ya. Co-signed by Win Benyamin.
Kate Cunningham.
He was raised in Texas, but now he's Detroit flexing. Team USA, he was killing them. Got him effed up, let me quote Eminem. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. That's a bunch of gibberish and money lovers act like they forgot about Kate. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. That's a bunch of gibberish and money lovers act like they forgot about Kate. Forgot about Kate, they forgot about Kate. Forgot about, how you forget about Kate?